Let's just say this year we really did this. High school.
Right, more an understanding of what it means to have a job.
Oh, God. Yeah, we had one person.
Just put it together. Yeah.
And I said, the supervisor, I said,
I would never recommend it to anybody.
it is 6:30, so I am going to call us to order.
Yep.
Time upon us, and I'm guessing this is still true. We have no items for executive session. So we're going to invite each other to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll settle back in. Motion to approve the meeting, the reorganizational minutes from July of 2020.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? We need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from July 9th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I do have a correspondence just before we got started. One of our former staff persons, Kristen Cinquanti, dropped off a note to say thank you to the board for making space for her to do her administrative internship. So I'll pass that around so folks can see that from her. I have no other correspondence or updates to the agenda. Superintendent Sherman.
Yes, I have one thing I'm very happy to talk to you about, and that is, to my left, we have Chris Boylan. Chris is our new student member on the Board of Education. For those of you that have been here for a bit, you know that last year was our first foray to having a student member on the board, Janelle Hess, who did a wonderful job for us. Had a chance to sit with Chris a couple times now, talk a little bit about the job that he has entered into. I'm excited to have him here. We talked a lot about how he will help us better understand the student voice and to get their input on things that we are talking about and doing and how some of the decisions we make affect kids. I also gave him his first opportunity to speak in front of you tonight, just to give a little introduction of himself to you and let you know why this was something that he thought that he would want to do. So Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I see a lot of familiar faces, but for anyone that I haven't met yet, my name is Chris Boylan. I run cross country in the fall. I'm involved with the musical, and then I'll play baseball in the spring. I'm also in the high school concert band, jazz band, and marching band. I'm really excited to be on the board, just as an opportunity to learn more about my school and the way that it functions, and I want to thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Any questions or any comments, any words of advice you would want to give to our youngest board member?
Thank you for joining us with us. It gives us a great perspective that we don't always get, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Crispy B.
Anybody else? All right, Chris, welcome. So glad to have you here. I also wanted to let you know we've got a couple of visitors with us tonight. Laird Updike and Lee Stepp from the Chase, our construction management firm, are going to be tonight's presenters. They're going to give us an update on where we are with the capital project, so we're looking forward to sharing all of that information with you and anybody at home who's watching. I also wanted to let you know that other planning for the fall continues. As you know, we're making a schedule modification, and what's allowing us to do that is the successful completion of some of those capital project items that we've been working on. Just to remind folks, again, what this will allow us to do, it will allow us to increase the amount of instructional time that we have in all 4 of our buildings to varying degrees. We've had for years safety concerns at our various buildings, mostly at the elementary school, but certainly at the intermediate and junior high at dismissal times, with the amount of students who we have running or moving through traffic to get to their parents. With the modifications that I'll talk a bit about in a minute, that will allow us to alleviate that. The other thing is this allows us to do is get all of our buses onto one campus at one time. It streamlines our routes in that, if you remember last year, we tried to have late bus runs on a regular basis. It was hard for us to do that. We just didn't have enough bus drivers. This allows us to provide 2 to 3 subs a day that will be available to us for all of the varying illnesses, absences that we get. And so these 3 things in general will really help us. I know that there have been some concerns and there will continue to be some issues that we'll have to work with. The good news is that throughout this process, we've talked to our union about those things and they're very open to helping us. I just talked to Jen Greenfield earlier in the week and she had sent some information out to her staff, or out to the teaching staff, to let them know that, you know, they're a partner in this with us, and like we do with everything, we'll continue to talk to them if any of these changes, which I don't anticipate any of these changes creating a contractual issue, because we're not increasing the amount of time that our staff is here. But again, there are oftentimes some unforeseen things, and we'll deal with those. We'll deal with those as we come. The 2 big changes that I've mentioned before, but I'll do it again. The enlarged parking lot at the elementary school and the parent loop, drop-off loop at the intermediate school is really going to allow us to have some streamlined traffic flow through our buildings. It will really help us to be smarter and safer as it relates to releasing our students. We started, obviously communicating that with our families when we were sure that those things were going to be ready, because with every capital project, there are unforeseen things that you run into. We wanted to be sure that before we started telling people about it, we were going to be able to pull it off. And so that's why in the spring, back in May, we got the information out about the new times to try to allow people some time to plan. That's why we sent out the bus routes in July as opposed to August, to try to give people some more time. We've got additional communication coming out this Friday that will go to our families, both from the buildings. So each building will send out more building-specific information about the start of the school year. But the transportation department will send any updates that have happened since we sent out that first communication in July. So again, I'm looking forward to the changes. I think they're going to help us as we move through, but would be happy to answer any questions that anybody has about any of that.
Yeah, I'll start, okay?
Yeah.
My major concern, and I think I expressed this to you, I'm gonna focus in on the primary kids, is, when you talk about more instructional time, and I think this is why I was opposed to the process, I don't know if our young kids and the babies need more instructional time. And that's what concerns me. It's a long, most adults can't handle it to 4 o'clock. And we're putting them into such a long day as it is already before we make changes. My question is what's that day gonna look like? If I was gonna recommend anything, I would say we don't need more instructional time for these little kids. All the research will show you that. Are we gonna have more recess, which I would, recommend, or something like that? What's this day gonna look like for these poor kids? Are we gonna give a free reduced supper?
No.
Yeah,
no, I hear what you, no, I understand.
That's my real concern, is they're babies. And the extended day in a structured environment, I'm not sure what that's gonna benefit.
Yeah.
If there's unstructured time, more recess, I'd love to see, how do we make this as an advantage to the kids?
Yeah.
And to me, more instructional time is not the answer. I'd say almost all the way up through. It's a long day for these kids to begin
Yeah, and the term instructional time for me might be a bit misleading too, because for me, when I say instructional time, that's the amount of time that our teachers have all of their students. It's not necessarily ELA, math, social studies, but what, you know, that's an example, you know, at the elementary school, that the information I had shared before, you know, some of our classes were ending at 2:45, and the last students weren't leaving till 3:45. And so that's an hour where only a portion of our kids were in the building. What we've done is we've now moved that to more like 3:15 at the elementary school. They're going to start releasing their walkers at 3:25. That doesn't mean that from 2:45 to 3:15 they're having ELA and math. What I've said to the building is, this is what my job was to give you more time that you can be productive with. What you decide to do with it based upon the age level of your students and the needs of your kids, that's for the building folks, and I told them I'd be happy to help them with that. But instructional time for me doesn't always mean that they're sitting at their desk in front of, you know, in front of the teacher. So they've been working since the springtime at the elementary school, looking at their schedule and what this additional time could mean to them. And we'd be happy to share that. I know Amy had asked for the schedule for each building, and it will look a little bit different, as you would expect, at each building, but we'd be happy to share that. I could have that for you at the next meeting in August to give you that information.
That's my major concern.
Yep.
Because I think kids may be giving up some of that unstructured time at home to play. And I'm saying is, to make this work, for my way of thinking is, how can we make that work if we're gonna have the structure, within that structure, give them a chance to be a kid?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my major concern.
Yeah.
And I think, if I recall what Amy asked for, is you kind of be like a flow chart type deal, where you're gonna have like a breakdown of each school. Is that what-
Yeah,
that we-
exactly.
That would be huge.
Yep,
To show.
yep. Yeah, because, you know, as an example, at the high school, what the additional time will allow them to do is have an activity period at the end of the day where every student will be in the building, which will allow every student the opportunity to work with a teacher, to be in a club, to be in an activity that maybe they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. You know, last year when Janelle had talked to the students about what it was that they valued, what they wanted us to try to help them with, at that level, one of the things they said is more contact time with individual time with teachers. This will allow us to meet that goal or that wish for them. What it looks like at the junior high will be a little bit different, what it looks like at the intermediate school. But what I feel really good about is that structurally, we've given them more time with all of their kids. What they choose to do with it will vary depending upon the needs of the building. So why don't we just plan on me bringing that information at the next meeting on the 27th, and then I can get it to you earlier than that, so you can take a peek at it.
Could you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I think that's great.
Be happy to do that. Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea, is letting, you know, that transparency of letting everyone see what the schedules are gonna look like. And do we have a tool that we're gonna be using to make sure that so if we're saying we're increasing the teacher, you know, time, like how are we gonna measure that at the end of the year to show that, hey, guess what, this really did benefit our students? Do we have things in place that we can really help? Because I feel like that's an important part of promoting, you know, changes like this that sometimes we have growing pains with, that a lot of times if we can show, look at what we've done. Look at this, we've been just at 15 minutes, you know, right now it seems like a huge burden. But
Yeah.
maybe that 15 minutes down, you know, we can show, you know, I know data a lot of times will help point toward that. And especially too, like I feel like, you know, some teachers probably have some really good ideas already set up. And you know, it's not just 15 additional screen time minutes, it's 15 minutes of intentional contact. And I completely agree with you that teaching is not just we're gonna increase math practice. It's, you know, it's that contact that's really essential that a lot of the kids are craving.
Yeah.
But if we can make sure that in place, that's something that can be shared out to us, and I think the public would love to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that might provide some kind of, you know, I think that would definitely alleviate a lot of the stress in there. You know what, I guess this is, and that's sometimes hard to see.
Yeah, there certainly will be ways, and we will work administratively to quantify that. And again, it might look different by building, But there's certainly a way for us to quantify the advantages to making some of the changes, and we'll work on that and make a plan to have that presented so that not just the board gets it, but that our community understands it too. Because, you know, in years past, we've had a very supportive community, still is. But you have to be able to justify what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that's something that we should embrace, not run away from. So,
Tom, would there be frequent checkpoints along the way as you move, like first week, second week, concerns from parents, teachers, just the
I think he just asked that, there's gonna be a check and balance in place, and that's probably part of the process.
yeah, we're gonna continually look at it, Kevin, to answer your question. You know, one of the first things that we're gonna wanna make sure that is going smoothly is the timing of dismissal, because so much of it, one thing is dependent upon the other. I met with Chief Pittman and Jen Fox in Transportation, and we've talked about what number of staff do we need in the various areas to help us just with traffic flow, which will go a long way to determining how successful this is. But yes, we're gonna continually look at it. The union has agreed to work with me and to continually analyze, how's it going? You know, what are folks saying? Is there some other adjustment that we need to make? Yeah, we'll need to do that, and would want to do that to make sure that it's really having the intended effect.
Trying to remember my board presentation schedule. I'm sorry, I haven't memorized it. But usually we have in early October, like a report from the buildings on opening.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to include for the board and for our public, how we've experienced that first month of the new schedule and what we're learning and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
just as a good check-in.
Yeah, makes sense.
So as part of that, that opening month report.
Okay.
I'm not losing my mind, right? It is in early October we do that?
It is. It's either end of September or,
Okay.
yeah. I can't say whether
Well, I
you're losing
understand
your mind,
that,
but
so
to
you're
that
right.
one, you're accurate.
Well, there's probably a lot of people that help me with that.
All right, that's what I had.
Very good. Then I think that moves us to our board presentation.
It does, and as I mentioned, we have a couple of experts here to help communicate where we are with our capital project. Laird Updike and Lee Stepp from LaChase, our construction management firm. Gentlemen, thanks for coming. I think this thing will move it along. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Just a quick introduction. I'm Laird Updike with LaChase Construction, where your construction manager. I know we have a lot of new faces in the board, so I just want to take a quick opportunity to give you a quick little intro. I'm a taxpayer, community member, graduate of Homer, former employee. I've been working on capital projects in Homer School District since December of 2001. So I've seen a lot of your buildings torn apart, put back together over several projects and wearing different hats. Lee Stepp has also been with projects here at Homer. I think since that same project in 2002. Right after I got that. Yeah. So we both have a lot of experience in your district, and I just wanted to kind of explain that a little bit to you and let you know who we are. I also want to thank you as board members. I know I'm a guest in your board meeting, but I want to thank you as a community member for volunteering your time, and I know it's a challenging and sometimes thankless position, but I wanted to tell you, how much the community appreciates your volunteering and the hours that you put into the school board. So we're going to give a quick update on where we are. If any of you have been around the buildings, in the buildings, you've seen some areas that look like small bombs went off and they've been gutted and no walls, no ceilings, no floors, that sort of thing. And we're working diligently to put all this back together. Not us personally, but we're managing your contractors. The contractors work for the district. So you can imagine sometimes it's challenging for us to try to get them to do and then follow through on the things that say they're going to do and tell us, and then we tell you. But a lot of the dates that you're going to see here are dates that we've worked with the contractors on. Instead of giving like a quick end date, we've given like it's going to be done sometime the week of, to try to give a range, about try to be realistic here. And then we've also worked with the district and the administration in identifying areas that might not be done, and how do we work on a plan B, and what does that impact for the school district, and how can we work with the contractors to maybe better something if that doesn't work. So we're actively working each day to try to get this ready for the start of school. And the contractors on both phases, phase 1, the original project, and then phase 2, which is a lot of the bathrooms and the parents' parking lot at the junior high. The contractors are all working very well. We've got some challenging ones that we have to spend a little more time with, a little more prodding and pushing, but and that's where Lee's gray hair comes from. But please, if you guys are hearing things from the community or parents, please direct those through the administration so they can get to us and we can try to work to resolve those things. The last thing we want is for parents and kids to be concerned when they're walking in the first day of school. So we're here to help you. Do you want to get started? We're just going to update on a few of the areas in each building, the main focuses of the remaining work this summer.
So we're going to start. Good evening. We're going to start at the intermediate junior high. That's where the majority of the work between phase 1 and phase 2 occurs. Just an update. We're about 99% complete with the window replacements across the board. If you've driven through there, you can see a drastic difference between the side windows that used to be just false panels. It really opens up the natural light for the majority of the classrooms in the school. We have one window that we're waiting on at the corridor. It's not going to affect the classroom spaces at all. The skylight got delivered last week, and they were working on it this afternoon, and it should be complete tomorrow.
Which is where, Lee?
That's over. It's going to be a multi-purpose room, OTPT, in the intermediate side where the old boys' locker room and the girls' locker room used to be. So that's going to offer up a lot more flexibility for use of space over there. And you need natural light to be able to do that. That's why you have a skylight. The home and careers, which is going to be an ag room now. Yep. The grow wall, that's supposed to come on the 19th, but the casework, because there were changes with the transition of the use of the space, that's going to be delivered the last week of August. So I have no issues with that going in. Punch list will occur into the year. There's no question about that. There is inevitably things that we'll have to address that will be performed outside of instructional time frame. So the 6 bathroom renovations, 4 of which occurred at the junior high, 2 on the second floor of the intermediate school are nearing completion. We're looking at the week of 8/23 being the target completion for those areas. No issues whatsoever there. The junior high library renovations, we are due to get casework on Thursday, so all the bookshelves will be going in. They started floor prep in there today. We had some changes with the type of flooring that went in there to be one solid type of vinyl tile that's going in there, but we're not seeing any issues with that being delivered on time and in use. The nurses renovations, we just got the first coat of paint going on today, so that's very positive for the delivery of that space as well. I was concerned that that was going to carry into September. I'm not as concerned now, so we're comfortable there. If you walk through the building, it's not going to look complete. I'm telling you right now. We're 2 weeks out. A lot's going to happen within the next 2 weeks. So, on phase 2, the parent drop-off in the half basketball court, the asphalt adjacent to the play area. We started the week at the 12th there this week with curbing going in. That's all complete. I've got photos of that going in, so it's a great photo to share. That's a sign that asphalt's right behind it. They're placing the rest of the sub-base down within the next 2 weeks. We'll have that all paved. With that being paved, we'll transition the traffic that's parked over at the other side of the intermediate school into what we just provided so that we can finish out the pavement from last year so that you have a nice finished product for the start of school.
That main parking lot is the intermediate junior high that you just mentioned. So it might look complete to a lot of people, but there's we just put binder, which is the base coat on last year, and then because there's gonna be a lot of traffic, a lot of construction traffic on it, and we didn't wanna damage the top coat. So it was a strategic decision made by the project team to leave the top coat of the asphalt to the second summer after all that construction traffic was complete.
Yeah, and something I would add, it was actually an advantage because it gave us a year to try it on for size. We realized that a couple of the entrances were a bit too narrow, so they've made modifications and they're wider now, better access. So that was actually an advantage to do it that way.
That covers the intermediate. Moving on to the high school. They had started on the softball field replacement, bean clay for the infield mix is sitting. We got nailed with rain last Friday. It had to dry out. We introduced equipment on there right now. We're just going to tear it up. So that's just drying out, but they're going to get back on it this week, and by midweek next week, we should be good. With the outfield fence that's removable, that's why we have an 8/26 date. That's going to be the last component for the softball field that goes in. The scoreboard, so Sports has confirmed that the week of the 26th, the scoreboard is going to be out here to be placed on the existing uprights where your existing scoreboard is. The AV system is not going to be fully functional because it's dependent on the press box. I was on the phone with Dan Clayton, who is the press box manufacturer and contractor. I've been given an 8/26 date for shipping, which we'll talk about how to influence that sooner tomorrow.
Who's it shipping from?
It's Kentucky. And they have the accent to prove. Why are we in such a hurry?
That's a delay, just to point out that the date is a delay with that was intended to arrive the first week in August.
Correct.
And they made us aware shortly after summer started, about halfway through July, that was gonna be delayed. And we're working now within our contractual powers to motivate them, because there's obviously, the whole reason you do a pre-manufactured press box is to have it when you want it, right? So that's, we're gonna push back as much as we can to try to get that expedited, within your rights here.
We've requested and have gotten production photos while the press box is being produced in Kentucky too. They're gonna send us more photos tomorrow, so we'll send those out.
Which Mr. Lisi was not impressed with. He was like, why are they sending us pictures of incomplete press box?
We wanted to see where it was.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So on phase 2, the bathrooms, this is supposed to be a huge undertaking with all the bathrooms at the high school. So as of right now, we're looking at the anticipated completion the week of the 26th for the north wing, the second and first floor bathrooms, and the second and first floor bathrooms. And then on the second floor is where they started. We had a delay on one of the bathrooms because we had some asbestos containing material that was buried inside a wall that had to be addressed. So that pushed one of the bathrooms out a little bit longer. On the south wing, they started on the second floor. Those are tiled out and it looks pretty good. So I'm not nervous about giving those back over, but for everything together with all the plumbing fixtures, utility partitions, ceilings and everything, we're still looking at the last week of August before that's delivered. Now, the ground floor on the south wing is going to be next in priority to allow for the completion on the middle level so that there's utility on the upper floor, the lower floor, and then we're finishing up in the middle. Anything that we have to finish up going into the school year, a barrier is required to be constructed to separate occupied areas from the owner from work areas. So there are 2 sets of bathrooms at the high school that we're projecting to go into the school year, just to be clear. The contractor had indicated October. We're hopeful toward the end of September that we'll have everything. With the elementary school, the Area C classrooms, We had some clarifications on the existing steel that was there back in, I think it was the 60s when that addition went on. You had a steel framing that housed glass block. In the 80s, you had a change to infill the windows on the lower portion, which minimized the natural light coming into the classroom. That steel had to be removed. Steel lintels had to be introduced to support the new brick that's going up there. The lintels are starting tomorrow. The brick is Thursday. And by the week of the 26th, we'll be receiving the windows, and the added casework for the classroom is confirmed to come in the week of the 26th. It's going to be right down to the wire on those two classrooms. James Street, there's a cardboard laydown area, and the contractor confirmed today that we're getting it the week of the 26th. That includes a new pad and a structure for housing cardboard so it can be recycled. It used to be contained in that shed that was on the second.
God awful blue shed out by the parking lot that's now gone.
And there's a lot of grass restoration that needs to occur at the elementary school. They're planning on the week of the 19th for that. Now, we also under phase 2 have the 6 bathroom renovations over there. We started tile this week on the main corridor on the 2nd floor. We're going to leave the area C 2nd floor bathrooms to last and finish the 3rd floor area C bathrooms so that we're finishing on the middle. Because you have to have bathrooms on the 2nd floor. You don't have any on the 3rd floor. That's why we're focusing the way we are. ADA railing replacements is projected to go into the school year. We're having issues with the steel contractor to get the railings in a timely fashion. We're going to take the same approach that we're doing with Bakelite.
But all the existing railings are still in place, so it's not like there's something missing. It's just
They'll just have to do it after
progress. The replacement will be pushed off. It's a second shift in the school year.
So the painting of the asphalt area between the 2 playgrounds over there, I was in conversations with AstroTurf this afternoon. There are concerns that I need to discuss with Doug and whoever came up with the sensory area.
Okay.
We need to work something out. We'll
Okay.
discuss that in depth tomorrow.
All right.
Some recent progress photos. There's a picture on the left of the OTPT skylight going in today. The high school north wing 2nd floor bathroom. That's the status of the tile. Can't see it as well. We've got all of the, on the north end, we've got the hot water supply and return that goes to ceiling registers in place over there. Yeah, that's a better screen.
Oh yeah, the color's better. Yeah.
So on the left is the elementary school 2nd floor corridor bathroom. They started at the wet wall where the urinals and commodes are going. And the intermediate 2nd floor bathroom is on the right. That's the status. That's the tile pattern that we're going to wind up with. Obviously, it's not finished. It's not in the finished appearance, but I have no worries about the intermediate point. So on the left, that's the status of the junior high library. They started the floor prep this morning. Ceilings, we have another architectural ceiling going beneath that existing ceiling grid that you see in the photo to allow for accents and the space to pop a bit. On the right, that's Monday with the granite curbing going in. So you can start to see the pattern. I believe the district's working on something right now to just in advance of everybody coming back so that we.
Yeah, we're working on it with our PR.
Right.
But essentially in that picture, top right of the parking lot, the entrance and the exit are all the way over to that end now. So as folks come in off of Clinton Street, they'll make a right, and it will allow them to wrap all the way around to the end of the parking lot, or the end of the pavement in front of the playground, because we're going to release kids out of that side of the building. So we'll be able to get a lot of the cars in and on the curb so that our kids don't have to run through like they used to do into the different aisles or lanes, yeah.
Is that grate, that's like the one that, the bumpy grate that like, seems that's gonna kill tires, is that being replaced?
That is being completely replaced.
Yeah.
Except for the brakes themselves that now sit on a larger, or a wider ledge so that you don't have them tip in it.
Okay. And a few times I've hit it.
That's a much needed improvement. I was nervous driving over it myself. That's all we've got for the slideshow. Questions?
Thanks for the update.
Very helpful, thank you.
Just one financial update. I don't have the exact figures with me, and we need to review again with Mr. Falls and your fiscal advisor. But we're tracking to have in the neighborhood of $500,000 to $800,000 remaining at the end of the project. I've got to get with Mr. Falls to see what the plan is in terms of whether the district is looking to utilize the entire capacity of the approved referendum, but there might be items that we could continue to look at with the district that were either considered and shelved with this project, or become a new program or infrastructure related priority since this project was bid and phase 2 was designed. So there might be some room there to look at a potential phase 3 that gets designed and submitted to SED, and we look at doing in the spring. That would be up to the district.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, throughout the project, we've been very fortunate with how our bids have come back in. It's going to allow us to do some more work if that's what we choose to do. So what we'll do is we'll get together with the Chase and with Hunt and put together some ideas that we have, present those to you folks, and that would be something that we would do in the spring of 25. We wouldn't be anything we wouldn't be able to accomplish obviously now, but that's good news, because that we were concerned, for those of you that have been around a while, we were concerned on the front end that with prices the way they were and material costs the way they were, that we weren't going to be able to do everything we wanted to do. And now we get on this end of it, and it looks like we're going to be able to add some things in. As an example, there's some limestone panels over at the junior high school that are not in the project, that since we've designed this project, they've started to deteriorate. And that would be something that would make sense for us to add in. So we'll continue to give you information about that, but really appreciate the work that these folks do, and have really delivered a nice, high-quality product for the kids, for our community. So all good news. So thanks, fellas. Really appreciate that.
Is the delay in the press box, is that gonna have any effect on home game, like original home?
No. Ideally, this thing is all gonna work out, and we'll have one for our first contest, but we might need to go back into medieval times and have a portable scoreboard or something, but no, it's not gonna, it won't affect our ability to play games. It's just a matter of how well we're gonna be able to announce them and keep score of them.
Will the facilities committee be included if there is a talk about phase 3?
We need to reinvigorate that, Amy, and yes, that would be a perfect opportunity for that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't know how other districts treat you, but in Homer, you're required to stay for the rest of the meeting.
I'll be late tomorrow.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
We'll move on to new business. I need a motion to approve the warrants and claim the auditor's reports.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? For information here, we have investment summary, we have a budget status report, revenue status report. Those are all for information. We don't need to vote on them. So I'll accept a motion to approve the disposal of items from the technology department.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the tax warrant resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? I will make a comment that after we vote, I will be sending around, this is one we have to sign, as official piece of it, just for a reminder of what we're signing, it's giving basically so that we can collect the taxes that we've already committed to take in. So, with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we'll get that started around while we do that. Motion to approve personnel as presented by the superintendent.
So,
Second.
Questions or comments?
There is one item on personnel that I'm gonna vote no to, so do you wanna pull that to the side or?
Yeah.
Okay. Co-curricular?
Okay. Other questions or comments? I'll also let you know, I'm gonna abstain on the co-curricular just because my spouse is listed. With that in mind, with the removal of the co-curricular assignments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Now, the co-curricular assignments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstention? And I believe that brings us around to informational items.
It does. We've got fundraising updates for you from the athletic department. Our varsity club will be selling apparel in open-ended window, so get your Homer apparel if you don't have any already. And then our junior high library club is having their annual Scholastic Book Fair in the fall. We've got some staff updates from 3 of the 4 buildings for you. These are folks that are not Homer employees, but who work in our buildings. We're fortunate, and as you know, we've talked for years about being a community school, and this is just an example of that. In each of our in each of our buildings, we have family counseling service. We've got the Liberty Partnership at the high school. As you know, our SROs, our school resource officers, are employed by the Village of Homer, but we've got one in each of our buildings, fortunate to have that. And then we house some OC's classrooms, so we always like to give you an update of who will be working in our buildings come September. We've got the 2024 communication letter. That's from our auditors in Cerro. This is their letter notifying the district that they'll be conducting an audit of the 23-24 school year, and they'll be here on September 3rd to do that. In that letter, it states if there are any questions from the board, they'd be happy to answer them. So probably the easiest way to do that, if you have any of those questions, just funnel them to me, and I'll make sure that we get those to the appropriate folks so they can get an answer for you. And then the last one I've included for informational purposes tonight, the district and board committees that we have here in the district. I've got a definition or kind of an explanation of each of those, and then I also left who were the members that served last year to give you a feel for the number of board members that we typically have on those committees. I won't ask you to commit to any of those tonight, but please, if you would, take a look at those. And then at the next meeting, or you can send me an email in between now and then if you make a decision. But we'll try to firm up some membership on those committees. We always benefit from having your involvement. And that's what I have for informational items.
Excellent. Well, this is the time when we as a board get an opportunity to hear from our community. We didn't have anybody sign up. Is there anybody wishing to be heard at this time? Not seen anybody move real quick for that, so I'm gonna just keep us walking through. We have no board committee reports. We have no district committee reports. So that brings us to board member activities.
I'll say something. The retreat that Jeff and Tom put together, I thought it was very good.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
It's not directly school, but I've had opportunity to watch a lot of our athletes in a summer field hockey league and conduct themselves very well. Very proud of how they're working through it, and sometimes the Field Hockey League uses the summer to train new officials. And in the heat of competition, that can be interesting, and I think our young ladies have represented the school well as they've interacted with that.
I just want to comment, my son just got back from the environmental club trip, and that was pretty impressive. Like I think he said to me, like life-changing as far as some of the things he saw out there. And also, you know, FFA, I know there's a bunch of kids that went up to Camp Afagashi this summer, and that seems like it continues to grow for our kids, getting an experience to go up there, which is, I did as a kid, that's pretty cool experience. So.
Been watching some illegal summer hockey, and they had a first win, and it was like 2 minutes left, and a senior who just graduated was the winner, so the game winner. So it was pretty exciting.
Nice.
All right, with that, there's just upcoming events.
If you look, you don't have to look very far to see that we are going to be welcoming our staff and our students back very soon, as Laird and Lee mentioned, about 2 weeks or so. So we're looking forward to that. We'll have also our staff, we have a new staff orientation on the 27th of August, where we'll attempt to acclimate all of our new staff to the district. It's a nice day that's spent trying to give them what they need to be successful, introducing them to the key people in the district that they're going to be working with, and it's always nice to welcome new folks, new perspectives into the district. So that'll be coming up here in a couple of weeks as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, I became aware that driver's ed was the #1 elective in the high school. Over 110 kids signed up for 80 positions. So it created this want that it is the highest requested elective class. Is there a way that I can request that we actually push out to staff that we're looking for a teacher for next year, so that somebody has like ample time to get certified, and we give our within staff the option to do it and start listing it now? Like it's a great offering, and we know that Rick, his intention was to do 2 years. Is
Yeah,
that still
I
the
haven't,
same?
I don't know that, I haven't been told that, but we certainly, whenever we get a program, you know, we talked about what to do maybe differently this year, and when we recognized the you know, outpouring of support for it, we made it happen. So if we get the inclination that we're gonna be needing someone, it takes time for people, even if they wanna do it, to be able to get the training they need. So we'll make sure that we get out as quickly as we can once we know that we have to. But I haven't been told that this was the 2 years then, but.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
No, you might have understood, but, yeah.
When we did the staff breakfast and stuff, I thought he was speaking that it was 2 years and then he had planned to.
People have a way of coming home and sticking around for a while, so.
And he's retired though, so we should, you know, he will retire possibly, and I would love for us to be prepared versus having to let
We will
go
do
of a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
But I heard that over 30 kids didn't get into driver's ed. So that's pretty amazing for a program that we just restarted last year.
Absolutely. It tells you what a good idea it was to do it, right? Yeah, and how much kids wanted us to do it, so yeah.
So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Everyone second.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.